Sorry, my friend. We are trying to continue here with our clip 25C. So this will be the second part of the 25C. So I was talking about what they are not trying to tell us, when they did not tell us. So they did not tell us that the kingdom, when they crossed, they formed those kingdom, but they did not tell us what was the name of their first king. That land had established at the middle, at the intersection of the three territories, the Fizi, Mwenga, and Uvira. They did not tell us who was their first king. Were there three kings or one king? Who was the first king? And now, since it was 1904, 1804 or 1820, or let's say even if we go back to 16th century, who was the first king? And that first king must have died. And who replaced him? And after the first one, who replaced the second one? So there's no list of kings that succeeded each other to this particular date. All right? So they are not also telling us that over the years, they have been trying to establish a kingdom of their own that they will call a ancestral land. But they forgot that ancestral land is only in Rwanda, where they come from, because they can't have an ancestral land in the middle of another ancestral land. They already acknowledged that there are three territories that they found there when they came. The territory of Uvira, which is occupied by the two kingdoms, the kingdom of the Bavira or the kingdom of the Fuliru. Territory of Mwenga used to be the kingdom of the Barega, and the territory of Fizi used to be the kingdom of Babembe or Kalembelembe. So they acknowledge that they saw those, they met those, they saw those kingdoms. And so now they formed their own, but they don't tell us who was the first king and how did they succeed each other. But they forgot also to tell us that over the years, they have been trying to form, to convince people from outside to create their own land, which I'll show you in the maps right now. All right, so we're gonna try to tell you that in 1954, they tried to create a territory of their own. They wanted to have a groupement of Bijombo, which went all the way to 1970 something. And when that territory of Bijombo was created, it was not created for them. It was created under the leadership of the king of the Bavira, which they are claiming today. In 1999, after they invaded DRC, when they came, the Tutsi came, those Tutsi that live in the Congo, Tutsi that live in Rwanda, those that live in Uganda and Burundi, when they came together in 1996 under the name of the AFDL and then invaded the Rwanda. 2 years later, they left Kabila and they went to form the RCD. They created the Territoire de Minembwe. That Territoire de Minembwe, and we know that Minembwe is not in Uvira, is not in Mwenga, is in Fizi. So imagine, they left the territory that they created, now they want to create another one in another territory, somebody's land. That one also failed. In 2021, they created another Commune de Minembwe. Again, they are trying always to do something to have their ancestral land. They did not tell us also that their documentation, the archive that exists. We know that between 1874 and 1877, Henri Morton Stanley crossed in that land that we know today, the Eastern Congo. He crossed in that land. He met the traditional chief people, and he bought their land. Those land became part of the domain that the King Leopold II of Belgium purchased from him to form what we call, that we knew then as the Free State Congo Free State, ou l'État indépendant du Congo, which later became the Belgium Congo, and then after that became the DRC that we know today. And then we know that after that, there was some research, and then they tried to collect the data, and then they tried to study the people who were there, and they found out that there were some people that were living there. There were people living there because they had kings, they had lands, they had territory. And we know that kingdom in the ancient colonial era, kingdom were states, were countries. And so, for example, we know that in the present Eastern Congo, these are the kingdom that Stanley Morton purchased on behalf of the king of Belgium. The Federal Kingdom of Baira, which comprised Lubero, Bunia, and Butembo. The Kingdom of Bahunde, which comprised the Masisi, Ruchuru, Kishali, Bwito, Bianyungu, Goma, and Gisenyi and Nyondo. The Kingdom of Banyanga, which is part of the Walikale. The Kingdom of Bahavu, which comprised then Kalehe and Ijwi. The Kingdom of Bashi in Ngweshe, which comprised Walungu, Kabare, and part of Mwenga. The Kingdom of Urega, which comprised at that time Mwenga, Shabunda, and Pangi. The Kingdom of the Babembe, which comprised Fizi and the Itombwe. And the Kingdom of the Bafuliru and the Bafira in the land that we know today as is the Uvira, or the Kingdom of the territory of Uvira. And at that time, when they did this census, we know that there are some Barundi of the Tutsi social group that came also across, and they still to this day they are living in the plain of the La Ruzizi, or the Ruzizi plain along the Ruzizi River. We have Tutsis there, but they are not claiming a land that does not belong to them. But we know that we have Congolese of Burundi origin that they live there. They are Tutsis. All right, so we cannot continue to allow the Banyarwanda to lie to you when we know that there are truth that is there out. So try to grab the truth. Try to advise the Banyarwanda that they don't have a tribe, or they don't have a land, ancestral land in what we call today the Democratic Republic of Congo. All right. So though we know that these three groups that came from Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania came to the Eastern Congo, and then they established themselves at the intersection of Uvira, Mwenga, and Fizi. Now let us look at this page, for example. This is page 110 of the book of George West. All right? You see this page here? Let me see if you can see well. This page here. You see at the north we have territory of the Bafuliru, territory of Fizi, and then this is Lake Tanganyika, and this is here this territory of the west is Mwenga, and this area here that are darkened. So we have this one here, we have this one here, and we have this one here. Those are villages, and the reason why this author here, George West, puts this gray area is because the Tutsi, which he called the Rwanda, were living in those areas. And this is the territory that he calls the Territoire d'Uvira. In his book that he wrote in 1959, after he had been in Congo for 5 years, because he started his research in 1954, and he published his book in 1959. The book was called in French Pays d'Uvira, Étude de géographie régionale sur la bordure orientale du lac Tanganyika. In English, if I can try to put it in English, is the study of the regional geography of the occidental border of Lake Tanganyika. Also, we know that the Persian, another scholar, came in 1974 and also studied the same region, including the Banyarwanda that were living in the Congo, in Eastern Congo, and also this is the map that he has here. In this map, we can see that we have we have 3 names. We have the name of Bafuliru. If you can see there, there's Bafuliru there. And then at the bottom, there's Bavira. All right? And then toward the end there is a Plano de la Ruzizi. So we have Barundi on this section here. We have Bafulero on that section. And we have Bavira on this section. And then what we have here is Mwenga. Down here we have Fizi. So there is no area that explains or that shows that the Banyarwanda were here. This is in 1974. And this map is 1954 to 1959. 3 territory to the north, Chefferie or Chieftaincy of the Bafuliru to the south. Territory of the Babembe to the west, territory of the Barega, and to the east we have Lake Tanganyika. There is no land that, or there is no empty land that is at the intersection of those 3 territories. There is none. From the beginning, from the time of Henri Morton in 1874 to 1877, there is no land in between the 3 territories. There is none. So when this guy, Dr. Tanyoma here writes or come to explain, whether through an article in one of the prestigious university or conference, tells you that they created or established a land at the intersection of these 3 territories. There's none. All right. So we have, for example, another evidence that those people that crossed, they were not 3 different people. They were all Banyarwanda because they came from the kingdom of Rwanda. Patient Kanyamashumbi, that's another Mnyarwanda who was a priest. He wrote in his book Les Populations du Kivu et la loi sur la nationalité in 1992. He wrote that concerning the Banyarwanda Tutsi in Kivu, there is enough evidence that the immigrants in the Masisi zone are related to the indigenous Banyarwanda in Ruchuru and Goma in North Kivu. And they are also related to the Banyarwanda in the high plateau of Itombwe in South Kivu. If we read page 1 of this book. This is a Tutsi who is writing another book, and he's confirming that these population that are living in Eastern Congo, they are not external. They are not some people from mysterious places in the world, but they came from Rwanda, and they are called the Banyarwanda. The same author here, the Persian, George West, who wrote, who had this map in 54, right? He wrote in this book here. I'm gonna read you one passage here, page 118 of this book. He wrote in French. L'implantation est récente. Le premier Rwanda est arrivé à Gale à 1891. Puis un homme et 2 femmes en 1884. Les Rwandais se sont superposés à une couche ancienne de Bavira. Ils sont encore mal fixés. Sur 73, sur 73 hommes et 84 femmes interrogées à Gale, 41 hommes et 11 femmes sont nés au village. 8 hommes et 27 femmes sont venus avant 1930. Ils sont venus d'où? Where did they come from? So he's telling us that here, when he went to interrogate them or interview them during his research in 1954, he found a certain number of Banyarwanda in this area, especially in Igalie, in Kishembwe, in Kataka, also in what's the other area? In Munanira. He found some population there. When he was interviewing them, they told them where they come from. and how they come, what year did they come in that area. So they did not establish that land, or they did not just establish a land that was empty from 1800 or 1600 or 15, I don't know, whatever they are saying, they're telling us. This is the people that he was interviewing, and they tell him when did they come to the area. So 27 women, 8 men came in 1930. 2 men and 2 women came in between 1930 and 1939. 30 people from Rwanda came between 1940 and 1949. 10 men and 26 women came between 50 and 54. And three-quarters of this population were born here. Et the Rwanda abandonne facilement les hameaux et même des villages entiers. So the Rwanda are abandoning easily the area where they live, and they can even abandon the whole villages. For example, in 1952, in the village of Kataka, they left the village and they went to fill another village toward the frontier, toward the occidental border of the Sheferi. Par exemple, à Kataka en 1952, pour grossir l'effectif des villages voisins ou émigrer vers la frontière occidentale de la Sheferi. Where is this occidental border of the Sheferi? He's talking about the country of the Bavira. And then he's saying that those who were living in Kataka village, Kishembwe village, Galia village, and Munanira village left to go and fill other village at the occidental border of the Sheferi, of the chieftaincy. Or we know that the chieftaincy has a border with the chieftaincy of the Barega, which is Mwenga. So where is this intersection that this Dr. Delphin Tanyoma is talking about? There's none. So my friend, we are trying to establish the truth here, and we want our people, you, my listeners, you who are looking at me right now, to understand that you are faced with a reality that is being transformed here. The Banyarwanda are teaching you a different history that is different from Africa. Because you don't live in Africa, so they come here and they come to your church. Whether you're a pastor or a bishop, they come to your office. Whether you're a senator or president, they come to your office. Whether you are a advocate of human rights, they tell you that look, I'm a Mulenge, and the people are killing me because I'm a Mulenge because I have a long nose. I'm not arguing about the killing or the hatred. I'm talking about the cultural identity, cultural historic, cultural reality. That's what we are talking about, because they are all connected. So if we don't resolve the problem of the cultural identity of the people that live in that area in Eastern Congo, it will be difficult to resolve any other conflict that will be raised in the future. But we have to determine first why the Bafuliru, the Bavira, and the Barega, and the Babembe are fighting to preserve their land, to preserve their ancestral land. That's what we are fighting for. So we don't want them to take our inheritance for our children to grab it and become their own so that they can be accepted. Because they are not. They cannot be accepted at Banyamulenge because Mulenge exists. There's no language which we will speak in the next video. There's no language that is called Kinyamulenge. When you hear them, they speak Kinyarwanda. They don't speak Tanzania. They don't speak Kirundi because the Barundi that are living in Eastern Congo, they are there. The Barundi, Tutsi, they are there in Eastern Congo. They live there to this day. They speak Kirundi, but though they also identify themselves as Tutsi. But these Tutsi now that came from Rwanda, but they are deceiving you by telling you that they came from Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania, and they came to Congo and they form one land. But they don't know, they don't tell you which land they form. So we want to ask you to help us. When they say that they had kingdom and their first king were called what the name that they gave us there? They say that their name was Gahutu or Budelege and Kaira. George West, as you read page 116, as you read page 119, as you read page 110 in this page 110, those 3 pages, they explain who were the capita or village chief. But all this land is a Vira land. Is a Vira land. This is Vira land. So they live inside Vira land. And in each Vira land, they have villages, and each village has chief. And so because there were many, so they gave them the opportunity to administer their own group, but they were giving report to the king of the land, which was a king of the Bavira. If they were in the Fuliru, they give the report to the king of the Bafuliru. And it is slowly that they start now moving slowly toward the occidental border. We read it. I read it to you, page 118. Par exemple, Kataka 1952, ils ont abandonné même des villages entiers pour grossir l'effectif des villages voisins ou émigrer vers la frontière occidentale. So they abandoned the entire village to move toward the west, at the end, at the border with this Sheferi that they are living in. And this Sheferi that they are living in is the Bavira Sheferi, the Bavira kingdom, and they moved toward the west, and they went there to increase the number of their population. But they moved toward the end, the west, and the west is the border with the Babembe and the Barega. And that's how they enter into the Babembe to live into Minembwe, which we know today that is Minembwe. Minembwe that you hear all the time, Minembwe. Minembwe is not in Bavira territory, is not in Bafuliru territory. Minembwe is in Babembe territory. Itombwe is in Babembe territory. So now, if they did establish, as Dr. Delphin Nyamona said, that they established a kingdom, a land, a territory at the intersection, how come now they are now claiming lands that are inside the territory of other people? So, my friend, I believe you are learning day after day as we continue. Next time we'll talk about the language. Which language do they speak? All right? And then after that, we'll see how they are playing the card of lies and deception to gain access to your heart, because they want your heart. They want you to accept them, to feel compassion for them. So I hope that you understand what is at stake here. And to close this chapter of this land that they created, I already showed you that between 1950 and 1960, there were some censuses of people of tribe that, kingdom that were existing. None of the kingdom that belonged to these people were there. And then also between 1908 and 1922, there was another census of tribes. That means ancestral people that were living in Eastern Congo. This is the list. In the census of 1908 to 1922, they did a census of the tribe that lives in the area. And then E.J. Van der Woode published his book in 1951. He gave the list of tribal people, or indigenous people that are original indigenous people of the eastern part of the Congo today. The Banyarwanda are not in. None of those people are identify themselves as from Mulenge. None. The Tutsi are not even part of, even those who study them, they are not calling them Tutsi, they are calling them the Banyarwanda, or Rwanda in short, because they came from Rwanda. And so in that list, this is the list of the tribe that this E.J. Van Woode published in his book in 1951. The Bahololo, the Babete, the Bahoma, the Babwari, the Babuyu, the Bavira, the Bafuliru, the Barega, the Bashi, the Bahire, the Banyanga, the Bashu, the Batalinga, the Baswaga, the Bahamba, and the Babembe. There is no Banyarwanda. Does it mean that the Banyarwanda were not existing at that time? Yes, but they were just individual families. And as we saw with George West, they came as individual families in 1920, 1981, 1840, 1850, 1950, 1930, 1940. They were coming to Congo, but they were coming into lands that already existed, that already ruled by monarch. And we have the list of monarch from the beginning of the kingdom of the Bavira, from the beginning of the kingdom of the Bafulero, from the beginning of the kingdom of the Babembe or Kalembelembe, in the kingdom of the Barega in Mwenga. We have the list of kings that succeeded each other to this day. But we have none. None. If you don't agree me, the next time a Munyarwanda come to tell you that she or he's from Congo, and he claimed that he or she is an ancestral person of that land, ask him or her, who is your first king? Who succeeded that king? How many kings have you had in Congo so far? All right, so I'm gonna end up here. I believe you have two videos for this part of clip 25C. So we have part 1 of 25C and part 2 of 25C. And I hope that they're gonna help to understand that there's no tribal kingdom of Banyarwanda that were in Eastern Congo. And they are trying to play a card to deceive you and to lie in your face. But we are claiming we need you to tell them the truth for the sake of our future generations. Thank you. So don't forget to read the description of the video. And don't forget to share, and please try to tell other people to know the truth about the Banyarwanda that are claiming today that they are from Mulenge. And we have the right now and the obligation to explain what is Mulenge. Mulenge is not what they claim to tell you, but Mulenge is want you to listen to us now. We have to speak the truth to you, and this is what we are saying. Mulenge exists as a place, as a land, as people, and those people exist, but they are not from Rwanda, they are not from Burundi, they are not from Tanzania. Pure lie. So take care. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.